She slammed the paper on my gate and yelled loud enough for the whole block to hear. "You've got 72 hours to leave or the HOA will take action." I was standing barefoot, coffee in hand, just watching this woman I'd never seen before act like she ran the whole town. Her hair was in one of those stiff blonde buns, sunglasses too big for her face, and a clipboard tucked under her arm like she was about to launch a NASA mission. Except her mission was me. "This is my land," I said slowly, keeping calm. "Not anymore," she snapped. "This neighborhood has standards and your kind doesn't belong here." She didn't even bother whispering. My 10-year-old son peeked from the front door scared. I gave him a little nod. It was okay. I had this. "What kind am I?" I asked, stepping forward. "You know exactly what I mean," she said, smug. "Your trailer, your tools, your so-called animals. This isn't some farm in the woods, this is Cedar Hill Estates, we have rules." Funny thing is, Cedar Hill doesn't even have an HOA. She made it up. The papers she slapped on my fence weren't legal, just some badly formatted notice she must have printed in her kitchen with Cedar Hill Homeowner Enforcement, written in bold at the top like it was some sort of official agency. "You think you can scare me off with fake threats?" I asked. "Oh, it's not a threat, it's a promise," she smirked. "By Monday, your junk will be towed and your utilities cut. We'll make sure the county handles it." That's when I knew. This wasn't just a Karen with too much time. This was someone who thought power belonged to her, even if she had to fake it. I didn't say another word, because what she didn't know, what she couldn't possibly know, is that I work for the Federal Bureau of Land Management. The very people who decide what's legal on land like this. And I've been waiting for someone like her to try me. Sunday morning, she came back, with backup. 3 men, all in matching neon vests, stepped out of a beat-up white truck with flashing yellow lights mounted on top. Not official, not city, just made to look official. One of them held a clipboard. Another had a bolt cutter. And the last one? He was already walking toward my waterline. Karen strutted behind them like a parade leader. "We're executing the violation notice. Utilities will be disconnected today, and the structure will be declared condemned by sundown." My son stood by the window watching. I walked out slowly, not saying a word at first, just stared at the guy with the bolt cutters. "Who are you with?" I asked him directly. He paused, looked at Karen. She gave a nod like she was some kind of general. "Code enforcement," he mumbled. "No badge. No city seal, no paperwork," I said, pulling out my phone and starting to film. "Try that cutter, and you'll be cutting through federal infrastructure." The guy stopped. "Federal?" Karen laughed. "You think waving a phone around is gonna save your shack?" I walked over to my truck, unlocked the glove box, and pulled out my ID. Real, metal-plated, government-issued. "Federal Land Agent, Bureau of Land Management. And this," I pointed at the soil under our boots, "is federal preservation. Land. Not HOA, not county, not even state. You're standing on protected soil." One of the men took a step back. Karen's smile faltered. I kept going. "You just threatened a federal agent's child, tried to tamper with protected utilities, and brought impersonators onto government-regulated property." I could see it hit her like a wave, but she didn't back off. "This isn't over," she hissed. "People like you don't belong in places like this. I will have this place shut down." I looked her dead in the eyes and said the first line that popped in my head, and later it would go viral. "Karen, you messed with the wrong patch of dirt." And then I called the real sheriff. By the time the real sheriff pulled up, Karen was pacing like a cat in a cage, whispering aggressively into her phone. Her fake crew had already vanished, bolted the second I mentioned federal jurisdiction. I don't blame them. Impersonating code enforcement is a felony. Sheriff Dawson stepped out of his cruiser and gave me a nod. We'd worked together before on a few land disputes out near the state line. He was tough but fair, and most importantly, he didn't like people wasting his time. "Morning, Agent Kane," he said, loud enough for Karen to hear. Heard there was some trouble? Karen turned, confident again. Yes, thank God you're here. This man is trespassing on HOA-protected land, threatening people and resisting code enforcement. Sheriff Dawson blinked, then looked at me. I handed him my phone with the footage. He watched for less than 30 seconds before sighing hard. You said HOA-protected land? He asked her. Yes, Cedar Hill Estates HOA. It's all in the notice. She tried handing him that same fake paper she'd slapped on my gate. He took one glance at it, then pulled his glasses down and stared at her like she was a toddler scribbling on legal documents. Ma'am, there is no registered HOA here. Cedar Hill was proposed as a private development but never filed final paperwork. What you're doing is criminal impersonation. Karen's face drained of color. But the rules, the neighborhood code. There's no code, Dawson cut in. No HOA board, no legal standing, and no jurisdiction. You handed out fake notices, impersonated authorities, and trespassed on federal land. She started stammering. I was trying to protect the community. You threatened a child and brought in 3 men with bolt cutters, he snapped. That's not protecting, that's harassment. Then came the moment I'll never forget. Dawson turned to me and asked, You want to press charges? I paused, looked over at my boy, still watching from the window. For now, I said calmly, just a no-contact order. But I want everything. On record. Karen's jaw clenched. She thought she'd just get a slap on the wrist. But then Dawson added, We'll be filing for criminal trespass, impersonation of officials, and attempted interference with federal property. You might want to call a real lawyer this time. She didn't speak, just stood there, frozen, as the sheriff wrote her a formal citation right there in her driveway, on the land she claimed was hers. And that's when I knew. She wasn't. Done yet, people like Karen don't go away. They escalate. 2 days later, it got worse. I was dropping my son off at school when I got the call. The neighbor across the dirt road, Mr. Delgado, a retired Army medic, told me something strange was happening back at the ranch. 2 unmarked SUVs had pulled up, and men in dark suits were walking around the fence line talking to Karen. At first, I thought it was just more bluff. Maybe she hired some private investigators to dig into my past. Wouldn't be the first time someone underestimated me. But then Delgado added, They're not PIs. One of them flashed a badge, looked federal. My heart skipped. If they were real, I'd know, and if they weren't, someone was playing a very dangerous game. I rushed back. When I pulled up, I saw them. 2 clean-cut men in black slacks and sunglasses talking to Karen like she was someone important. She pointed toward my barn, waving her hands like she was reporting a crime scene. I stepped out of my truck slowly, watching every move. You Agent Kane? One of the men asked, approaching. I nodded. Depends on who's asking. He flashed a badge very quickly, too quickly. Something was off. We're from the Bureau of Environmental Enforcement, he said. Got a report that you've got unlicensed chemicals and illegal structures on protected land. I laughed once, dry and sharp. There is no such bureau. You made that badge yourself, didn't you? The second man shifted uncomfortably. Karen stepped in, confident again. They're here to investigate what you've been hiding. You think just because you have one badge you can't be checked? I pulled my phone and dialed a number I rarely use. Direct line to the Regional Federal Oversight Office. Hey, it's Kane. I've got 2 men impersonating federal agents at my location. Yes, still the Cedar Hill Ranch. The first man paled. No need to run, I added loud enough for both to hear. The sheriff's 5 minutes out and we've got facial recognition in every direction. The second man bolted. Karen screamed, Stop him! Do your job! But the first guy didn't move. He just raised his hands and whispered, She paid us. Said you were squatting on tribal land. Said she had a judge's order. I narrowed my eyes. There is no order, and this is federal trust land. She just committed a federal crime. The real sheriff pulled in a minute later, lights blazing, and Karen's world started falling apart fast. As he cuffed the impersonator and read him his rights, Karen backed away slowly, muttering to herself. I was just trying to make the neighborhood better. I didn't know they weren't real, I didn't know. But she did know. She planned this. And she wasn't done yet. 2 nights later, I woke up to the sound of tires crunching gravel. It was past midnight. The ranch was dead silent, the stars clear overhead, and every instinct in me lit up like a switchboard. I peeked out the window. A pickup truck, no plates, was parked just outside the gate, engine running. I grabbed the flashlight and my sidearm, stepped out quietly, and kept to the shadows. Whoever was out there didn't want to be seen. Then I heard the sound, hissing, near the barn. I moved fast, cutting around the back. That's when I saw him. Someone crouched near my livestock tanks with a wrench in one hand and a canister in the other. I stepped forward fast and firm. You've got 10 seconds to explain what you're doing before I make this real complicated. The man spun around, startled. It was the same guy who ran when the sheriff showed up. The second, fake agent. His face was pale. He dropped the canister and ran. I didn't chase. I didn't have to. Because the moment he sprinted toward the truck, floodlights clicked on, and 2 unmarked black vehicles rolled in silently behind him. Feds. Real ones. They'd been tracking him since the impersonation stunt. And they let him lead them right back here. I watched as they tackled him to the ground and cuffed him. One agent walked up to me. We've been waiting for her next move, he said. Turns out this guy's connected to a private security. Contractor Karen used to handle disputes back in Arizona. Same MO, fake authority, real damage. I nodded. She sent him to sabotage my tanks? Or poison your livestock? Hard to say yet, the agent replied, checking the canister. Either way, it's attempted federal property tampering. We've got what we need. I looked toward the hills, where the ranch lights barely touched. She wasn't there, but I could feel her watching. She wasn't done. Not even close. And now, it wasn't just about me and my land. Karen had crossed into something bigger. Federal crimes, orchestrated deception, impersonation rings, and I had no doubt she'd keep pushing until someone stopped her for good. But what she didn't realize then was that this was my home turf. And I wasn't the one being hunted anymore. She was. The very next morning, the town woke up to a storm, not of weather, but of headlines. Local news vans lined the county road just past the ranch gate. Cameras rolled, reporters shouted questions, and drones buzzed overhead. Someone had leaked the footage, everything. The fake agents, the sabotage attempt, Karen's fake HOA stunt, even her rant about getting rid of people like him. It was everywhere. Local woman caught running fake HOA, linked to federal impersonation plot. Veteran land agent targeted in wild scheme. Karen versus the government. It didn't end well. Karen's face was plastered across screens, from here to Tucson. She'd finally gotten what she always wanted, attention, just not the kind that came with neighborhood applause. This came with warrants. I watched it all unfold from my porch with a coffee in hand. My son sat beside me, calmer now, knowing the worst had passed. Or at least we thought it had. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I picked up. A woman's voice, shaky but determined. I worked with her a few months back. She's done this before. Other towns, other families. She uses fake HOAs, legal threats as scare tactics, gets people to move, buys land cheap through shell companies. Who is this? I asked. I used to be part of her team. I thought it was legit, until I saw what she did to a veteran family outside Santa Fe. She's connected, smart, and she never works alone. She paused. She's leaving town, packing up today, but she's not running. She's relocating. You stopped her here, but she's already planning the next move. I hung up and sat in silence. Karen wasn't just some delusional neighbor with a clipboard. She was part of something bigger, An organized scam, maybe a real estate racket, operating under the radar, using fake law and fear to steal what didn't belong to her. And I knew. This wasn't just my fight anymore. This was a pattern, a system, and I had the proof to blow it wide open. But first, I had unfinished business, because while Karen was preparing to vanish again, I had one more card to play, and it was going. To hit her where it hurt the most. I waited until just after sunset. Karen's house, if you could call it that, sat silent at the top of the hill. Half her things were already packed. A U-Haul sat idle in her driveway, back open, boxes taped and stacked. She thought she was slipping away in the dark, like she'd done in other towns. But this time, the darkness wasn't hiding her. I pulled. Up slowly, not angry, not dramatic, just done. She came out on the porch, arms crossed like always, mouth tight with fake confidence. "If you're here to gloat, don't bother," she said. I stepped forward, holding a thick envelope. "I'm here to return something." She didn't move. "This," I continued, "is everything. The footage, the reports, the fake documents you filed, the money trail, the impersonators, the calls, even the guy you tried to pay off to tamper with my tanks." Her face tightened. "You don't scare me." "You should be scared," I said calmly. "Because this copy is already in the hands of the county prosecutor. Homeland Security has the rest." She flinched. I leaned in just enough. "But I didn't come here for revenge, Karen. I came here because I wanted you to." "No, you failed." I turned to leave, but she snapped. "This was supposed to be my neighborhood, my community. You don't belong here." I paused, looked over my shoulder. I fought for this land, literally. I've bled in more deserts than you've stepped foot in. And I didn't come back home to be pushed off my porch by a woman with a clipboard and a god complex. She didn't reply. I walked away as her porch light flickered behind me, shaking, unsteady, like her story. By the next morning, she was gone. Quietly, no goodbyes, no signs, just the hollow shell of a plan that collapsed under its own lies. But her exit wasn't the end. Her story went viral. People started coming forward. Stories from Utah, Nevada, Colorado. Same tactics, same woman, different names. Authorities launched investigations. She was now on a national watch list. As for me, I still sit on this porch most evenings. My boy plays under the old sycamore. The land is quiet again. Sometimes neighbors stop by. They ask if the story was real. I just smile and say, every inch of this dirt cost something, and no one's taking it away again. Because in America, your land is your fight, and mine, it's protected forever.